Hey, what's up, guys? James from Junkyard Fox. Thank you so much for joining us on another exciting adventure. And today, I want to address a question that I have been asked constantly these last couple years. And it goes along the lines of, hey, James, what is the best knife for the money? Or what's the knife you would recommend to a beginner? Or what is the best bang for your buck knife out there? And I'm going to address that question because they're all, in my opinion, the same answer. And that's going to be the Mora kansbol. Now, not only am I going to gush about this knife and how much I like it, because, that could easily just be drawn into the realm of opinion, but I'm going to give you 5 reasons why I think, once again, the Mora is the best knife for the money. So thank you for joining me. Let's get started. So these last couple years, I've actually been using the mora kansbol in many adventures. Maybe the orange-handled kansbol you haven't seen a lot if you've been watching the Junkyard Fox channel. But I know for a fact that many of our videos featured my original green-handled mora kansbol. So not only am I going to talk the talk, but I'm going to walk the walk. And I'm going to place a playlist up here showcasing the mora kansbol in many different exercises, skills, and adventures. So anyway, let's go ahead and move on. So reason number 1 why I think the mora kansbol is the best knife for the money is going to be the budget-friendly price and the availability. So you can argue that there's many more mora knives, its contemporaries, that are much budget-friendly, like the mora 511, the mora companion, and so on. And that's true. However, for the price, for the fact that you're getting this for $35 to $40, you're getting a great knife that has much more added features, and it's just, in my opinion, a superior blade. Once again, $35 to $40, I think everybody can afford that. I mean, once again, there's cheaper knives, but this one just offers a lot more for what it has. Not only that, but it's going to be just easier to find too. A lot of knives, you either have to wait for the maker to make them, or they're discontinued, or so on and so forth. This one, you go to Amazon, Amazon.com, our links down below, or Self-Reliance Outfitters, or Ragweed Forge, and you're going to find it. So you're not going to struggle with it. You want this knife, you can have it in a week on your doorstep. I've even seen them in local sporting goods like Cabela's before. So a great knife, easy to find, and once again, $35 to $40, you're not going to break the bank. It's going to last you a while. Even if you're in high school, your kid working at McDonald's, once again, $35 to $40 really isn't much. Reason number 2 is going to be ease of maintenance. So there's this thing in the bushcraft genre where everybody wants a carbon knife. It's traditional. A lot of the big boys in the genre, they recommend that, and that's cool. I started out the same way. However, the older I get, the more I realize I like stainless steel better, particularly if you're first getting started in this. So all those people who ask me, hey, I'm barely getting started into camping or preparedness and all that stuff, I recommend getting a knife that's going to be stainless steel. It's going to last you a lot longer. There's always going to be that learning curve when you're starting to get into something. So you want to start with something that's not going to break your heart. I'd rather beat up or, damage my $35 knife than my $300 knife, right? So the mora kansbol has 12C27 stainless steel, which is going to be great for ease of use in on a wet environment, whether it's raining, it's snowing, or you're cutting up tomatoes, potatoes, and you're a newbie at this stuff and you forgot to wipe the blade and you put it away in the sheath. And then surprise, in the morning, if you have a high carbon steel blade, there's going to be rust spots on it. This one, you don't really got to worry about that. I still suggest you take care of it, of course, but the 12C27 steel has become one of my favorites. It's very rust resistant. At least compared to other carbon blades, like, once again, the mora kansbol, the mora bushcraft black, or even, say, a Green River or a Condor knife. And not only that, but also the handle. The handle is rubber and plastic, which may not look as, mountain manly as, a Condor Kephart, for example. But wood, once again, is an organic material. And as an organic material, it could start deteriorating. It could start breaking down. This, you don't really got to worry about that. So you got that going for it. It's just going to be easier. Same thing when it comes to sharpening. If you're a newbie and you're learning how to sharpen, once again, I'd rather learn with my knife that's $35 than a $300 knife that you're gonna ding up and chip and all that stuff. So once again, it's gonna be easier to take care of. And lastly, the sheath. It's not a leather type of sheath, so it doesn't require a lot of maintenance. This thing is fine as long as it's dry. You're good to go. So once again, ease of maintenance is going to be a big factor for me. Reason number 3 is going to be this beautiful multi-grind. So this is what separates it from most other knives, is going to be the fact that it has this, what you would call a multi-grind or a compound grind. It starts here as a Scandinavian blade, like almost all moras, and then it tapers off to this thin, flat grind section. So it adds a lot of versatility and adaptability. In fact, this knife was such a game changer when I first got it in 2017 that years later it affected me on my own personal knife design. So this is my personal knife design. It's called the Snake Eater. And as you notice, it also has a Scandinavian portion that tapers off into a flat grind. So, I mean, it affected my own personal designs afterwards. So, for those of you who don't know, this portion right here is called the Scandinavian grind. It's great for woodworking. It's great for whittling. So, whether you are carving a spoon or a spatula, or you're carving notches on wood to make, say, a figure 4 deadfall trap or a bow drill set to make fire, this is going to excel at woodworking. However, it doesn't excel at other tasks such as skinning game or processing food. You're making a stew to cook up food in the campsite. That's where this flat grind portion is really going to excel at it. Now, this is not the first knife to ever feature a multi-grind feature. To the best of my knowledge, Mora has started doing that with the Mora 2000 back in the early 90s. However, I think this one's just perfected, and this was the first time that I was exposed to the multi-grind, and I love it. You've seen me before carving spatulas and carving bow drills and all that stuff down here, but you've also seen in other videos where I'm gutting trout, where I'm gutting carp, where I'm chopping up veggies and meats to make food with this corner. In fact, if you notice how it tapers down here, that was needed. One time I gathered a cactus pad and I hollowed it out to turn it into a water container. That is a very delicate task to do. One wrong move and you've punctured it and you got to start all over. But I used the green kansbol that I have, my older one, and I was able to do it, and it was mission accomplished. It worked great. So this is going to help you do a lot more than most moras that are just going to be Scandinavian, or most other knives like a Green River that's going to be just flat, and it's going to have its weakness because it's not going to be as versatile when it comes to woodworking. So the multi-grind, I think, is great. Number 4 is going to be the sheath. Now, I would consider the sheath to be something of a weakness with Mora knives. They make great knives, but a lot of the times the sheaths they are lacking. We can all agree with that. Now, whether they have weak retention or they're very stiff, something along those lines, but they focus on making a great blade. But the sheath can be This one's actually really great. This one, the retention is incredible. I've never had any issues with the sheath of a kansbol before, where I have had with other knives. For example, this is the same type of sheath that the Mora Garberg, its stronger, more robust cousin, uses. However, because of the Garberg, the fact that it is a thicker, heftier blade, one time it fell out of my sheath and it got dinged on the floor. I was walking pretty fast. I wasn't running. And, it's swinging on my belt. And because of the weight of the Garberg, it actually fell out and it hit the floor. Nothing too catastrophic, but I didn't like that. So this one, I do like it complements the lightweight of the blade very well. Once again, it's plastic, so you don't really got to worry too much about maintenance like if it was a leather sheath. And there's a drain hole down here in case water does get in there. It'll help dry it out. And I think, once again, that's really great. A lot of companies, they don't really give you good sheaths. Some companies, when you're talking about a knife that's $30 or lower, they don't even offer sheaths in the first place. So I think that's something that we overlook, and I think that's something that's very underrated with the Mora kansbol. And reason number 5 why I love the Mora kansbol and I recommend it the most, it's all the little things that accumulate. It's all the little added features that we, on their own, they don't tend to be very remarkable. But when you really stop and think about it, I think this is a very incredibly well-made knife, really well designed. For example, all the added features like the 90-degree spine. Many knives offer a 90-degree spine, but they tend to be more on the pricey side. When we're talking about a budget knife, maybe 30 bucks going to 40, if they have a sharpened spine, it's a crappy sharpened spine. And some of the more budget-friendly moras, its relatives, once again, like the Mora Companion, the Mora 511, they're rounded completely. So you got to get a file and do it yourself. Not the end of the world. If you have time on your hands and you have a file, it can be done. However, I do think that this spine right here is probably the best spine I've ever had in any knife, the Mora kansbols. Of course, a lot of you know that you can use this, with the ferro rod to start a fire. However, there's many other uses to have a flat spine on your knife. For scraping, for example, you've seen me before scraping scales off fish like bluegill, carp, trout. So that's going to add versatility to your blade. Not only do you have a versatile blade that is Scandinavian and flat, but you also have a flat grind as well. And the handle too. The handle, it may seem a little generic in terms of the shape, but that allows a lot of uses for it in terms of how you're going to grip it. So whether you're making feather sticks and you're just going straight down, so you have the hammer grip, or you're doing something where you're carving something more elaborate and you have to turn the knife around, make cuts the opposite way, it remains the same shape in your hand the whole time. And that makes it comfortable. Other knives that have a particular, very unique asymmetrical type of handle design, like the Mora Bushcraft Black, for example, it's comfortable in one way very much. But you start moving around from there, and it starts becoming uncomfortable. Trust me. So I like this. A lot of people don't realize that, but this is a very comfortable handle, particularly with this rubber texture up here. This is the same type of handle that the Mora Garberg, its bigger, more popular cousin, has, but the Mora Garberg is all plasticky feeling. And not that I've ever had any issues using the Mora Garberg myself, but I do prefer this rubbery grip feeling. It just provides more confidence for me, at least in my opinion. So, once again, great design all around, from the type of steel they use, the type of handle material, the grind, and like we mentioned earlier, the sheath, which is very sturdy, very minimalistic, so to the point that I like it. It's aesthetically pleasing. And just all these little added benefits really bring up the Mora up a notch. So that's about it, guys. I don't want to make this video too terribly long, but those are my top 5 reasons why I think the Mora kansbol is the best blade for the money. So whether you're a newbie, you're 16, 17, and you're saving your allowance money to save up for a decent blade, or you're just, somebody who's barely getting into camping and bushcraft preparedness, or even if you're a veteran, even if you're somebody who's been doing the outdoor thing and handling knives for decades, I highly recommend this one. For what you're paying, you're getting so much blade and so many great features. So if you're so inclined to purchase one, I'll have the link down below to our Amazon store. You'll get a great blade within a couple of days, and it throws a couple cents our way so we can keep getting out here in nature and having adventures and making great content for you guys. Other than that, guys, I love this blade so much. I believe in it so much that I've probably bought like 5 or 6 these last 4 years to give out for, friends and family during the holidays or birthdays, because I want everyone to have a very trusty blade, because you never know. We live in a very crazy world, whether you're out having an adventure or, you got to be prepared. So I've given them many times. And while we're on the subject of giving one out, this will be a gift to one lucky Junkyard Fox Patreon. So Patrons, if you're watching, as soon as we get back to town, I will have a giveaway, a random giveaway. So one Patreon will be getting this next week mailed to you guys. So, and don't worry, I'll clean it up, polish it up so it's nice and pretty. So if you're so inclined to join our Patreon, we do have monthly giveaways. I'll have the link down below for that as well. And that's about it, guys. So, one last thing. I know I'm rambling at this point, but we also launched our Junkyard Fox merch store. So if you want to purchase some shirts, bandanas, anything like that involves a Junkyard Fox or Cuervo Negro, go ahead and check that out. Once again, all these things help us keep getting out here and having adventures and, all that stuff and filming. So we're very grateful for all your support, all your love. And that's about it, guys. So we're finally done. Give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Comment down below if you agree with me or disagree with me on the best knife for the money. And we'll see you guys next week with another video. Now go outside and get your boots dirty.